Hello everyone, welcome to Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services. It's a video on PIB monthly compilation, and I'll be discussing PIB compilation for the month of January. PIB is again an important source when it comes to civil services preparation. It helps at both stages of examination, either it is prelims or mains, it contribute a lot, right? So all the important news that were relevant for the month of January has been compiled in this video session. And before I begin this session, just to tell you that if you're watching this video for the first time, do check out our playlist. There are a lot more other videos that is there. And those of you who are already following the part of Yojana and Kurukshetra and even the PRS part, do supplement this with the PIB videos. So without any further delay, let's get started. And the video will follow, the session will follow the part of the content that is there. For General Studies Paper 2 related news, the General Studies Paper 3 related news for the month of January in the PIB, some news that is brief in nature, bilateral agreement and summits, and some military exercises and initiative that is again going to be important for both prelims as well as mains examination, right? So this is all about the content of this session that I'll be discussing for today. And before I start this session, those of you who are new to our channel, do not forget to subscribe Apti Plus Academy for Civil Services on YouTube. If you like this video, if you find this video informative and helpful for your examination purposes, do press a like button. So starting this session with the first section of the discussion, that is the news that is important for General Studies Paper 2 related, right? So the important part has already been covered in this, and even the other important initiatives that we have like PRS and even Yojana part. So do compile everything once you're watching the PIB also. So India's G20 task force on digital public infrastructure. The Union government has set up India's G20 task force on digital public infrastructure for economic transformations, financial inclusions and development. So there are two important parts, or better three important parts. The first will be for economic transformation, second for financial inclusion, and third is for the development. The task force will be co-chaired by India G20 Sherpa and Infosys chairman. Now aim की अगर बात करें, इस particular task force कुछ priorities रखी गई हैं for the G20 presidency. India will be looking into the part of digital public infrastructure, financial inclusions, promoting digital identity, improved and innovations technology, which include the digital payment like UPI and governance framework. The task force will also create a detailed map for India's infrastructure, जहाँ पे कुछ specific sector पे खासा ध्यान दिया जाएगा, which include finance, health, education, skilling, data, taxation, digital commerce, mobility, and beyond, right? So this shortlisting key priorities for the infrastructure development within individual G20 tracks, the members country. The task force will also assess India's ecosystem readiness to support the global efforts for purpose solutions so that innovations can be taken into country for all the member countries in a timely manner. Now, focus area of India during G20 presidency, although India would be using the platform of G20 at multi-level, and this is again significant for the mains examination as such. There can be a part of question in mains specifically where it can be framed that how India G20 presidency can have a lot more verticals and even call for an approach where India would be calling for an inclusive development. So the government of India has said that G20 presidency will focus on bridging the digital divide first, especially in developing countries, and ensuring the better benefit for the digital technologies. The G20 presidency, the India which is holding the current chair, this will be there till November 23, as I've told you already in our many initiatives. And it's an opportunity that will set and drive the global discourse on economic and developmental issues. Now the other important news, that is 3 grievances appellate commissions that has been notified by the central government. So recently the union government has established 3 grievance appellate committee. This is better known as GAC, that is Grievance Appellate Committee, on the recent recommendations as per the IT Intermediaries Guideline and Digital Media Ethics Code Rule 2021. The Grievance Appellate Committee as envisaged under Rule 3A of IT Rule 2021. So here this Rule 3A become important for your prelims examination also. What is Rule 3A? The Rule 3A introduced a mechanism for people aggravated to appeal the resolutions of their grievances by the grievance officer appointed by the intermediaries under the rule. तो grievance जो resolutions है उस mechanism को और strengthen करने की कोशिश की गई है by the Rule 3A, that is there the part of IT rules. Now the rule further direct the committee to adopt an online dispute resolutions mechanism wherein the entire process from filing an appeal to the decision will be conducted purely through a digital mode. See what happens once you reach out to any physical office, there are a lot of other part that is involved, right? The bottlenecks are there. In digital way, the government is trying to provide a hassle-free services. So this will be an added advantages, and even in-person appearance would not be required. Now, the IT Rule 2021, which provide for creating an avenues for the grievance redressal as a part of courts and ensure that the constitutional right of Indian citizen are not contravened by the big tech platforms and accordingly would be given the suitability for the SSMIs. Now, the Grievance Appellate Committee, how they will functions, what are the main role that they will call for. So the GSE is a critical piece of overall policy in the legal framework that will ensure internet in open, safe and trusted and accountable manner. The need for GSE was created due to large numbers of grievances left with unaddressed and unsatisfactory by the internet intermediaries. Now the Grievance Appellate Committee is expected to create a culture of responsiveness, right? So they will ensure that a culture of responsibleness is inculcated and a responsiveness among the internet platform is there and the intermediaries toward the consumer. So this will call for a responsibility part which should also be intact with all intermediaries that is functioning in India. Very important point, also relevant for prelims examination. Now GSE will be a virtual digital platform that will operate online and digitally where the entire appeal from part of decision shall be taken digitally. So the mode and resolutions from inceptions to the end result will be in a digital mode. So this is again an important point to be noted. Now the provisions of appeal against a decision, suppose an aggregated person or aggravated person is not happy with the decision, he has an option that he can appeal against that decision of the social media intermediaries and before a new appellate body, and this will have to resolve within 30 days. So this is the timeline, the duration within which a resolutions has to be provided to an individual. The Union Cabinet unveiled 3 cooperative societies. The Union Cabinet recently approved the setup of a setup and promote a national level multi-state seat cooperative society. Now, what is the aim of new cooperative society that is there? So the society will act as an apex organization in some of the following areas and look for this. First is called the productions, procurement, processing, branding, labeling, packaging, storage, marketing and distributions of quality seeds. Second, it will call for a research development. Third, to develop a system for preservation. And last but not the least, for the promotion of indigenous natural seed. So these cooperative society will have a specific task on the part of preservations, promotions and branding of the seeds. The seed production at national level in the seed cooperative society will be increased through the productions in the country, thereby leading to more employment. So once these things are incorporated, it will ensure that there is more number of employment that is there in the agriculture and cooperative sector, reducing the dependence on imported seeds and providing boost to natural economy. So this is more towards Indianization, right? So Indianizations की कोशिश की गई है and promoting Make in India and leading to Atmanirbhar Bharat. Now, what are the advantages that will be there? So the national level multi-state seed cooperative society will help to boost and increase the seed replacement rate, varietal replacement rate, ensure that the role of farmers in quality in seed cultivations and seed varieties at trial, and the productions and distributions of certified seeds with a single brand name by utilizing a network of all level of corporations. Now, the national level multi-state seed cooperative society की अगर brief की बात करें, this will be set up under the Multi-State Cooperative Society Act 2002, and it will work and support for the relevant ministries, especially in the Ministry of Agriculture and Farm Welfare. And there will be a coordination. Apart from this, there will be a coordinations from ICAR, that is Indian Council for Agriculture Research, National Seed Corporations, and even the scheme following the whole government of India's approach. So the entity and the stakeholders involved in this will be again important. 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, again very important, which was there in India for 2023. The 17th Pravasi Bharatiya Divas, which was organized in partnership with the Madhya Pradesh government, was held between 8th to 10th of January. And the venue is important. This was held in Indore. For many competitive examination, a direct question can be framed, right? Even if UPSC does not ask, in many competitive examination, a direct question is asked. Theme for this was Diaspora, Reliable Partnership with India's Progress in Amrit Kal. Now, 5 thematic plenary sessions was organized by the Government of India to ensure that the 17th Pravasi Divas is a comprehensive meeting that is taking place. The first plenary sessions में role of diaspora of youth in innovations and new technology की गई, जहाँ पे youth affairs ministries ने इसके साथ collaborate किया. Second plenary sessions was on role of India's diaspora in promoting India's healthcare ecosystem in Amrit Kal. The vision was for 2047, where India would be looking forward for complete development, and this was chaired by Minister of Health and Family Welfare and co-chaired by the Minister of State for External Affairs. The third plenary sessions was on leveraging the soft power of India, the goodwill through the craft and cuisine and creativity, which was again chaired by the Minister of State for the External Affairs. Fourth plenary was on enabling the global mobility of Indian workforce on diaspora, chaired by Minister of Education, Skill Development and Entrepreneurship. And last was on harnessing the potential for India's diaspora entrepreneurship for inclusive approach and national development, which was chaired by the Ministry of Finance. Now, there were 4 I's that was a part of inclusive development, and that called for infrastructure, investment, innovations and inclusion. So this 4I is again important. Now, some important news for the month of January that is relevant for General Studies Paper 3. Cabinet approved green hydrogen missions. So how the National Green Hydrogen Mission is very significant for a country like India. The Union Cabinet chaired by Prime Minister has recently approved the National Green Hydrogen Mission. And more about the mission, actually the Government of India has set target, and even the total outlay for 19,744 crore rupees was aimed to produce 5 million metric ton of basically part of the associated renewable energy, which will be an effort which India would be looking forward for 125 gigawatt by 2030, right? The missions called to incentivize the commercial productions of green hydrogen and make India a net exporter of the fuel. So some of the specific part of the missions and focus area include the decarbonization of industries, mobility and energy sectors, which India has already committed to, reducing the dependence on imported fuels and food stock, because India import a lot, and even it has a basically pressures and dominance to our forex reserve also, developing indigenous manufacturing capabilities, creating employment opportunities, developing new technologies such as efficient fuel cells, and creating export opportunities for green hydrogen and its derivatives. Now, outcomes of the missions by 2030, the development of green hydrogen productions capacity with at least 5 million metric ton per annum will associate for the renewable energy, and total allocations and even the targets for 125 gigawatts. और इसके साथ साथ इस मिशंस के थ्रू जॉब क्रिएशंस और इन्वेस्टमेंट की बात की गई है. ओवर 8 लाख crore of total investment will be there. 6 lakh more jobs can be created. Cumulative reductions in the fossil fuel of 1 lakh crore. An abatement of 50 million ton of annual greenhouse gases emissions. Now, there's a side program which is again important in this context. Under the strategic inventor of green hydrogen transition program, two distinct financial incentives will be there. First is targeting the domestic manufacturing for electrolyzers, and even for the greenhouse hydrogen part, this will be provided under the mission. So it will be targeting domestic manufacturing of electrolyzers as well as productions of green hydrogen. The mission will support the pilot project that will be emerging into sector and producing a pathway. और अगर बात करें regions capabilities or even support large scale production and utilization of hydrogen that will be identified and developed as a green hydrogen hubs. Now, Prime Minister addressed 108 India session for Congress. Recently, the Prime Minister, while addressing the 108 session of the Congress, underlined the importance of women involvement. Very important, specifically for General Studies paper 1, where the part called for the development part of the women and even emancipations of women is very important. So scientific research की बात की गई है women की involvement में, and even increasing the participation of women in the progress of society. Now, the focal theme of 108 session was science and technology for the sustainable development with women empowerment. The first sessions of Indian Science Congress was held in 1940. कुछ परफॉर्मेंस ऑफ ग्लोबल इनोवेशंस की बात की गई है. इंडियाज पोटेंशियल इन द ग्लोबल इनोवेशन इंडेक्स. द प्राइम मिनिस्टर सेड दैट इंडिया इज अमंग द टॉप 3 नेशंस इन टर्म्स ऑफ स्टार्टअप. 81th प्लेस इन द ग्लोबल innovation index, 130th countries mein, and India has reached to a place of 40. Right, this is again an important milestone. Addressing the importance of science in making India as Atmanirbhar, the Prime Minister said that science and technology can bear only when we go from labs to land. So it is essentially required that the innovations and technology upgradations which is there should be implemented at the ground. Right. Now, India's performance in field of science, the Prime Minister noted that India is fast becoming one of the top countries in the world in field of science. The role of science power will be important, even providing for the next 25 years, where India will call for more innovations part. And Prime Minister highlighted the way that the data analysis is rapidly moving ahead. In 2021st century, two things is there, that is data and technology, very important. And this will help for converting the transformations into insight and the analysis into actionable knowledge part. First All India Annual State Ministerial Conference on Water, very important. This is also specifically important for General Studies paper 3, where conservation efforts are concerned, and important for General Studies paper 2, where government interventions and other important part is concerned. So this was important part with the collaborations which was there for Save Water and even the Ministry of Water and Ganga Regeneration. The place and venue was at Bhopal. The first All India Annual State Conference was organized in Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh. The event is organized by the National Water Mission, that is Ministry of Jal Shakti. The theme was Vision Water at 2047 during the conference from 5th to 6th of January as a part of India's 2047 Vision Mission Plan. Now, about the conference, there were two thematic sessions. The first was on water security, and second was on the use of efficiency, right? How water can be efficiently used. On the part, discussion was made. Several participants and stakeholder has given their experts' opinion. The primary objective of two-day conference is to give inputs, and the 5P visions was there. Even it called for bring water in a state subject and also improve the engagement for partnership with the states and the initiative scheme that is there by the Ministry of Jal Shakti. कुछ thematic sessions की अगर बात करें, All India Annual Sessions which was there as a 5 systematic sessions which call for water in the water deficit, water surplus and hilly areas. Second is use of efficiency during the and use of water and the grey water. See what is happening, like the grey water part is left out. We need to ensure that these water is also used in some or other ways. Now, water governance की बात की गई है. This is all about the 5 P's which we are discussing. So, in water governance, it aims to break the silos that is there in the water sector and bring various states together by the central government. Climate change resilience water infrastructure at the present scenario for climate change, and even measures that needed to be taken to reduce the effect of climate change. Water quality that deals with the problem of water quality of drinking water surface and even to the groundwater also. Now, some news that is brief in nature, relevant for mostly prelims examination. Now, Vigyanika, the Science Literature Festival, which was there in Bhopal, again, International Science, India's International Science Festival, right? This is at Manit, Bhopal. The Vanika seems to promote discussions on deliberation and challenges and future roadmap for effective communications and scientific knowledge. Since the launch of IISF in 2015, the Science and Technology Literature Festival has emerged as one of the well-attended events. So mostly the question will be framed like to what extent and in which context this was held and what is the place of venue. 26th National Youth Festival. The Prime Minister inaugurated 26th editions of the National Youth Festival in Karnataka, and the theme of the festival was Viksit Yuva Viksit Bharat, right? Developed Youth and Developed India. Now, the Youth Summit witnessed the 5 themes that is for covering the diverse area of work, industries, innovations, climate change, health, and other part of the shared futures. Now, Virasat. Recently, the Ministry of Textile has organized the part of Virasat which called for celebrations of the handloom and home decor, especially in New Delhi, to explore the part of home decor by the handlooms. The ministry organized the exhibitions in which 160 participants were there among the country, and the event collaborated as well as versatility of the handloom sector. The exhibitions focuses on old tradition of sari wearing and exclusive handloom weaving with different parts of the country. So the different culture traditions in saris which is there, India has a good culture. If you see the diversity which is there, so a lot of diversity was there at one podium. Now, some bilateral and agreement in summit that took place in the month of January. India-France discusses defense cooperations and security cooperations. Recently, the National Security Advisor of India, Mr. Ajit Doval, has held 36th round of Indo-French strategic dialogue with his French counterpart, and the statement was there with the Embassy of France. Both participants agreed to intensify the part of strategic autonomy. Agenda of the dialogue की अगर बात करें, first word about the current global situation in context of the conflict which is going between Ukraine and Russia, regional security and stability in Afghanistan, counter-terrorism, cyber security, defense cooperations in Indo-Pacific, which India already has advocated in many multilateral forums that China's dominance should be cut down. The agenda covered Indo-Pacific strategic partnership, defense and security cooperations. Now, in defense cooperation, something specific important that कुछ 3 exercises हैं जो countries के बीच में होती है. The first is called exercise Shakti, that is for army, exercise Varuna for navy, and exercise Garuda for air force. Recently, Indian Air Force has inducted Rafale, which is a French Air Force state-of-art aircraft, which has been incorporated in the Indian Army. India has become 23rd member of Indian Ocean Rim Association also. UAE, India's assistance on the part of rupees non-oil trade. So India and United Arab Emirates foreign minister has discussions with regards to the trade of non-oil commodities and Indian rupee. This is the second news. Now UAE has signed a ranging free trade agreement even for like among the biggest trade partners which is there for Gulf and gas productions, most of whose countries are pegged for the US dollar. Now, UAE trade deal with India aims to increase the bilateral non-oil trade for 100 billion in the next 5 years. The majority of the Gulf trade is conducted in US dollar, but such countries like India, China are increasing to pay local currencies for various reasons, including the lowering transactions cost. Now, demand for domestic currency, the large majority of Gulf trade is conducted in US dollar. This is the currency which is mostly tradable. And other countries like India and China is looking for local currency for the payment part. And UAE said that the trade relations between Asia and other countries include, which will call for a strategic partnership with the United States in their domestic currency, and that will help countries although. तो देखना होगा कि क्या इसमें एग्रीमेंट हो पाती है या फिर नहीं लोकल करेंसी में पे करने के लिए. इंडिया इजिप्ट के बीच में डायलॉग हुई है डिफेंस टाइज. सो इंडिया एंड इजिप्ट आर एक्सपेक्टेड टू साइन half dozen ऑफ एग्रीमेंट ranging from agriculture to digital part in the upcoming visit of Egypt president. And the defense and security cooperation emerging as a key pillar in the bilateral relationship between the both countries. Focus area was there in terms of security, counter-terrorism, defense-related issues, which feature prominently in the bilateral talks. Challenges from unmanned aerial vehicles, cyber threat. Two sides are expected to sign agreement to enhance cooperation in areas such as cyber security and IT. Now, military engagement is another important part. 180 military contingent of Egypt is participating in Republic Day parade. And India and Egypt force is currently conducting first joint drill, which is named as Exercise Cyclone. I'll be discussing this in the later part of the video in the military exercises also. इसको आगे discuss करेंगे. The ongoing 14-day exercise aims at building the interoperability and counter-terrorism with special operations. ट्रेड वैल्यू की अगर बात करें 12% ऑफ ग्लोबल ट्रेड वैल्यू है दोनों कंट्रीज के बीच में, विच विल बी फर्दर ऑगमेंटेड एज अ पार्ट ऑफ ग्रोथ. इंडिया एक्सपोर्ट की अगर बात करें 3.74 बिलियन विच इज इंक्रीज टू 64%, एंड टू कंट्रीज आर टारगेटिंग 12 बिलियन पार्ट ऑफ द पार्ट. एंड इंडिया एंड इजिप्ट both countries have signed an agreement for green hydrogen, and Egypt with worth of $18 billion. Now, some military exercises and initiative that is again important. First is exercise Cyclone, which I was talking about between India and Egypt. So the first ever joint exercise between the special forces of India and Egypt. All this exercises is also important for the CAPF examination, right? Those of you will be appearing for CAPF. The exercise become very important. This is taking place in Jaisalmer in Rajasthan. The name of exercise is Exercise Cyclone 1. It aims to bolster the defense cooperation between two countries, जहाँ पे special forces cooperate करेंगी, counter-terrorism, reconnaissance, and even raids and special operations. It will undertake a joint planning drill forces and even mechanism for setting up surgical strike and even the part of high-value targets. The joint exercise will provide an insight into culture, ethos between the armies, and even call for interoperability and further strengthening the diplomatic relationship between India and Egypt. Second is 21st edition of exercise Varuna 2023. It's a naval exercise between India and France, and it has become a hallmark for a friendship between India and France. और इस एडिशंस में खास करके सीट डिस्ट्रॉय INS चेन्नई गाइडेड वॉज बाय INS तेज, मैरीटाइम पेट्रोल एयरक्राफ्ट P-81 डॉर्नियर, इंटीग्रल हेलीकॉप्टर MiG 29-7 फाइटर एयरक्राफ्ट, ये सारी चीजें इंक्लूड की गई थी इस एक्सरसाइज में. The exercise witnessed air defense exercise, tactical maneuvers, surface firing, and even underway replenishing the part of maritime operations. The exercise facilitate the level of interactions between two navies, foster the mutual cooperations, underscoring the shared commitment both in national security, freedom, and global maritime commons. Fifth Cavalry class of submarine Vagi, which was there already there in the news. I have already made a discussion in daily news and editorial analysis. So ये part commissionized की गई. This is the fifth part, which was built by the Maxon Dock Limited in Mumbai. Right, the fourth Cavalry class of submarine has already been commissionized. और जो sixth basically जो erstwhile Vagi that was commissioned 1st November 1973. This will boost the capabilities of part of Indian maritime security, even diverse missions like anti-surface warfare, anti-submarine warfare, intelligence gathering, and even mine laying and surveillance missions. तो कई ऐसे जो initiatives होंगे वो prelims के लिए भी काफी ज्यादा relevant होंगे. Now, try exercise, amphibious exercise, that is MFEX 2023, the biennial try exercises, which is conducted between the part of the countries. And even this is something a part of the initiative which is there. The exercise aimed at joint military elements of tri-services which called for amphibious operations to enhance interoperability and synergy. So this was the largest ever MFEX conducted till date, and the participating force undertook complex exercise in dominance of amphibious operations over 5 years. So this was basically a tri-services exercise. Now, this also called for number of shipping part, that is large platform dock, landing ship craft, marine commandos, that is called Marcos commandos, and the helicopter and aircraft for the navies. MFEX 2023 successfully demonstrated the amphibious capabilities, validated the excellent coordinations between the tri-services and the full spectrum of amphibious operations. Now, the last exercise is Veer Guardian exercise. This was recently the part of the Veer Guardian between Indian Air Force and Japan Air Defense Forces, which was concluded in Japan. So this is between India and Japan. So the participant exercise with F-2 and F-15 aircraft, which was Indian Air Force participant, with Su-30 MKI aircraft. The exercise provided to Air Force an opportunity to enhance their mutual standing. The IAF fighter contingent was complemented by IL-78 fighter refueling aircraft with C-17 Globemaster as a strategic aircraft carrier. The exercise involved precise planning, and the precise planning was there, skillful executions by both air forces. So there's a collaborations between India and Japan. The name of the country is important, where it actually concluded, the venue is important, and what was the part that was involved, और किस तरह की vision बनाई गई है, ये चीजें आपके exams के लिए काफी relevant है. So this was all about for the discussion on the part of PIB for the month of January. We have a lot more other initiatives for you on our YouTube. First is like daily news and editorial analysis. उसके बाद FCA है, PIB, MPR, month gist of Yojana and Kurukshetra. We have our magazine, the current affairs compilation, which you can download from our websites also. So all this initiative will help you to sail through the journey of civil services. Other than this, if you have any other concern, you can reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to assist you. For time being, I'm signing off. Thank you so much for watching this video.